The artist has begun this drawing with a white foundation coat using Conte crayon. This is followed by a rapid but accurate line sketch of the face. He now uses a stump to define the shadow areas. The stump is made of compressed paper. When it's charged with pigment, you can use it almost like a paintbrush. Look how smoothly and subtly the artist creates the shadows with this instrument. The preliminary layer of white Conte pigment also helps in the blending process. It's a bit like painting wet in wet with oils. The white Conte crayon is now used for the details in the eyes. And now back to the stump for a little bit of blending. For darker tones and details we can use black Conte crayon or black pastel crayon. Conte crayon is harder than pastel crayon, and so you can use it longer without having to sharpen. You can get a crisper line and a more intense black from Conte crayons than you can with pastels. It's good for finicky bits and details, like the pupils of the eyes, for example. Here we have the darkest crayon for the pupil and the lightest crayon for the highlight, used in conjunction. Very dramatic. Boom! Boom! Now that's always a magic moment, the creation of the highlights. Back to that faithful white Conte stick again, and we're using it to work on the areas of the face where the light is falling. We now have the full range of tonal values in our drawing, from the mid-tone of the paper to the light of the foundation coat, to the lighter color now coming in, to the mid-tone of the shadows under the nose and the eyes, to the very dark of the pupils and the very, very light of the highlights in the eyes. The face is beginning to come alive. Now it's back to that black Conte crayon again to strengthen things up a bit. Throughout the drawing, the artist will use this crayon to tighten things up when he feels it's necessary. The pencil skims very lightly over the surface of the paper, leaving a faint trace of texture. This is entirely appropriate, especially when depicting a man's face. These marks lend a rough vitality to the drawing. One should resist the temptation to use too much the stump. An over-polished, smooth look, especially with this face, would be inappropriate and would look unnatural. Wrinkles exist, so keep them in. Unless, of course, your client is paying you double to take them out. Tightening up again with a black crayon. Once again, the artist leaves the marks to show on the paper. No question of smoothing everything in. This Conte stick is a versatile tool because you can use it on its side for flat areas of tone, and you can also use the pointed tip for details. Back to the black Conte crayon again in its trusty holder or extender. This is an item of equipment which is really a good investment, because it's never a good idea, whether you're professional or an amateur, to throw away the pencil stubs. Art stuff is expensive these days. We must choose the appropriate media to render different parts of the face. Soft pastel here is being used on the hair, and then immediately afterwards in comes the stump to smooth things through. A few touches here and there with the Conte white, and then, to finish things off, in comes the Conte black. And the hair is done, or as good as. So, that's the gentleman done. Now for the lady. Bonjour, madame. Asseyez-vous et bougez pas, s'il vous plaît. Same procedure as before. White foundation coat, few sketchy lines to place the face on the paper, and off we go. Beginning, as always, with the eyes. The eyes are of central importance, so we build the face up around the eyes. The artist has decided to use grey Ang paper for this particular drawing. You can see this from the distinctive linear grain that Ang has. The paper you choose is entirely up to you. It's really a question of personal taste. There we go. Job very nearly done, and as we're about to see, one very satisfied customer. Bravo, maestro. Ah, so the children want to get into the act as well. No problem.